Welcome to the DraftKings Daily Trot. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Taking a look at tonight's 15-game slate here. It's a big one, and a lot of poor pitchers on the hill and bad ballparks, so I think it's going to be a pretty friendly night. And, I mean, we're going to touch on plenty of guys that, we feel pretty comfortable using.
We're going to touch on a lot of guys because there's a lot of different ways to go on this slate. So there's just going to be a lot of talking and things being said that are important, and you should listen and like and subscribe our channel on YouTube.
That is Russell, our shameless plug, Clay, and here we are jumping into catcher. There's some high-priced guys up there, and I'm a big fan of guys like Ramos and Luke Roy. You can roll Perez. I think, GPP-wise, I think paying up here in that range is kind of a high upside move that you can take advantage of.
Yeah, I think paying up here is a legit option tonight. Unlike most nights where there's just one guy who's like 1,500 more than everyone else, I actually think with this group there's some decent upside, especially with these matchups. You kind of go down the line of who they're playing against: Latos, Manea, Jimenez, struggling Porcello, Boyd. I mean, that's the top 5 pitchers for who the catchers are going up against. And then Wieters against Ventura, Vogt against Davies. I mean, you just keep going down. They're all good matchups. So that's something we're going to have to battle tonight. And I think roster construction in terms of stacking is going to be essential because it's going to be tough to just nail a bunch of one-offs, you know what I mean, in a tournament. You got to hit that. You got to hit a stack of some sort to win a tournament like this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I do think there are, a lot of different ways. I mean, I'm kind of in between. I think you can go one-off wise, or maybe you play 2 from the same team and kind of go that route and not necessarily a full stack. And because there are so many options, I think the odds of actually hitting one-offs aren't that bad. And kind of there's a bunch of different price tiers you can go with.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, well, screw you.
Yeah, well, you're wrong. So, no, I'm just kidding. No, there's some decent ways to go, especially with Luke Roy. I think you can team him up with Braun, and that might be an interesting way to go. As far as Posey, I think there's some cheap options you can do mini stacks with. So, yeah, no, there are ways. But I just like making black and white statements with no backing behind them. So sometimes you pay the piper, sometimes they let you through, and
Looking at some of these guys, and I think park factors are going to be kind of what's going to be my tiebreaker. Kind of looking at a Posey, he is going to come forth on that list for me just because solely of you're looking at U.S. Cellular, you're looking at Camden Yards, you're looking at Miller Park, a lot of power factors that enhance right and left-handed power. So I think that's something to note while we're running through a lot of these guys. We're not going to dive too deeply into park factors, but guys at those parks are going to have a higher ranking on our slate for me. And
I will say Jason was super excited when he saw and realized he was like that. Like, say you went to a bubblegum machine and you turn the thing and you got a free bubblegum ball. That's what you got when you saw Evan Gattis was catcher available now.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. And that's a very 1920s barber reference of you that I'm just going up to the
no, they're still in Walmart. Go to a Walmart, you'll see a line of them. And well, they're probably all years old.
Next time I need to get a pack of Hanes white teas, I'll check out the bubblegum machine.
or get a fake earring or a tattoo that'll last a half hour.
Yeah, or
that's your market.
Remember those homies, the little 50-cent homies pieces?
Oh, those were trash. I would always get the runts. Oh my
God, you know what? We're done. We're done with the pod.
Yeah. No, you got to get the food because no, you got to get the food, even though it's been in there for 2 years. You got to get the little banana, and the little
you make
lemon.
Me sick.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I made myself sick, probably.
All right. Definitely. We like that top
Um,
range. I think Weeders and Vogue for a little bit cheaper is a decent play, and obviously Wellington Castillo and those Arizona righties against right hand or lefty Matt Moore is in play at Chase Field.
for sure.
So
Brian McCann, if he's back in there, as we kind of go down, I mean, what are we looking at here? Tyler Flowers, 2,700. I think that's pretty solid value. I mean, again, DeGrom hasn't been DeGrom. I don't think you want to play Cervelli, but that is an intriguing price.
it is.
You can't do
I,
it, but it looks good.
I like Jan Gomes at 2,600. Even with
Yeah.
him, I mean, he hasn't been great. But you look, I'd rather take a shot against Wade Miley than Jacob Degrom.
Jacob DeGrom. Dun dun dun.
But Jan Gomes 2,600 is probably my punt option, just with a bad lefty. And Gomes, I mean, yes, he hasn't been great this year, but you look at his track record against lefties. I don't have a problem paying that price tag and to pay up at other spots.
Yeah, that's fair. He's a good call.
First base here, and once again, I mean, it's pretty loaded. Unlike yesterday, Eric Hosmer 5,500, complete $2,000 difference from where he was, and I'm not on him at that price. I think if I'm paying up, it's going to be for a Goldschmidt or for a Rizzo. If I'm paying up over 4,500.
He was only supposed to be 4,500 today, but they're just averaging out the mistakes they made the last two slates.
Yeah, he's been like Adam Lynn price or something like that at the last couple of games.
Adam Lynn versus lefty prices. Yeah. Ortiz, obviously, I mean, you just throw him in there at this point. 5,400, that's fine with me against Suarez.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind that. I mean, Ortiz has been cranking. Obviously, it's a tough ballpark, but I think it's going to lower his ownership a little bit, and obviously, he's still very much in play.
Mm-hmm.
He may even have triple upside if he can hit one out to the triangle out there.
Ooh,
I'm kidding. No, you look at MLB The Show, his speed is at like 1.
Is it really? I'd say that's
close.
about accurate.
Yeah. Looking lower, I love Encarnacion's price at 4,200. Intriguing play against Boyd, who hasn't been good against right-handers. 371 WOBA allowed, 2.14 home runs per 9.
Yeah, I'm already on board saying he's going to get 2 home runs tomorrow. So let's hope that happens. If not, I don't know what's going to happen to me, but you guys might not see me for a while.
You'll come back during NFL season.
Yeah, exactly.
Looking cheaper, I mean, Victor Martinez at 3,600. I mean, Sanchez strong against righties, but given Themart's the lefty there, and Sanchez has been relatively average against lefties in his career, Themart's kind of a decent way to kind of pay down, especially with how good he's been this season.
I definitely think that's fair, and with Cabrera sort of being in a weird matchup, you do like Martinez there, so that's an interesting way to go. Because I still think Cabrera's going to suck up some ownership either way.
Yeah.
And then Hanley at 35. I mean, I know he hasn't been that great, but that's a really good price. I know the ballpark's bad, but still, 3,500 for Hanley is nice.
Yeah. Moving on to second base here, and this is a spot where I'm kind of intrigued to pay down at. Outside of obviously Daniel Murphy, he would be the guy I'd pay up for. But when you get Zobrist, who's 1,100 less, I kind of like that. Zobrist had the day off, which was a bummer against the lefty Adam Morgan. But expect him back in the lineup, and he's my favorite option, just price considered.
I'm with you, but I'm excited for the mid 3K range. So, I guess we'll. I like Gene. I do like Gene. I like Odor, 4,100 and 4K. I think they're solid options. My boy Whit Merrifield. I got about 10 boys at this point, but he's not my boy. But I do like him. I think he's a solid play. But when you get to 36, Solarte versus Blair, I like that offense. I like where he's hitting in the order lately. I think he's a great value right now. And then Profar, man, this dude's balling. And I'm plugging him in literally every single time until it doesn't work anymore. And that might be a while. So
it might be. If they continue to price him like this, I'm all over it.
I mean, he gets 2 hits like every game. It's incredible. So, and he's like Low to mid 3Ks every time. So yeah, you just throw him in there.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I mean, one, he's got shortstop eligibility here too. Joe Panic at 3,300 is not a bad idea for that
Yeah.
price. And to go back to Segura, I think the Diamondbacks are kind of a favorable team at Chase Field tonight. And you look at Matt Moore. I mean, 363 WOBA allowed to right-handers, 1.48 home runs per nine. It's something that's very intriguing for guys like Segura, Brandon Drury, Wellington Castillo. So I think Goldie. It's just that whole tier is looking pretty good on that slate there.
I'm with you for sure.
Third base, and you got some guys that are priced up there, and you and I were kind of splitting hairs a little bit. You like Josh Donaldson, I like Manny Machado. Obviously, I mean either or. I mean you're not really. There's no kind of clear cut favorite. I mean, unless you think so.
No. Well, we do like Machado too. He's a solid play, but yeah, Donaldson, really like him as a play. I mean, I really like third base tonight as a place to make plant your flag and pay up,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can go a bunch of different ways. And Danny Valencia, I think he's red hot again, 4,400. Yeah, the price tag's up, but you look at Zach Davies. I mean, not a guy to kind of shy away from. And in that ballpark, I think the A's are going to put up some runs. And Valencia, you might catch him at a little bit lower ownership on tonight's slate.
Definitely. Yeah, with that price increase for sure. And Longoria, really like him against not against Greinke. Oh, God. Oh, where are we going, folks? Guys, we got to turn around the car. I was thinking tonight. We're doing this the night before. Yeah, you don't want to play Longoria against Greinke. That was like I wrote half the sentence, and then the teacher came in and erased it, except they didn't erase it or white it out because now everyone knows. Anyway.
So let's make this. It's 8:39 Eastern time on Monday night. We're looking for the Tuesday slate. Russell was going to mention against Robbie Ray Longoria, but he is playing Greinke. So to clear that up, we're going to move right down, and you can kind of look lower, as you mentioned, Solarte on the second base, 3,600 there. He's eligible. Jose Ramirez, not a bad option at 34, and Brandon Drury at 33 is certainly intriguing.
Yeah, I like those three options a lot, even more than Longoria against Greinke. So that says surprising. Something. Yeah, pretty surprising.
Yeah. What do you think about the Dodgers bats tonight? I mean, where are they? Kind of a cheap stack, and that's it. I mean, Butler's not good.
It's tough. He's not good. I think they're definitely tournament plays, definitely tournament stack. I don't trust them though. They need to earn my trust to be anything more than sort of my fifth stack that I make. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think that's kind of the way to play it. And I mean, maybe a one-off in a GPP with a cheap option. It could be a move, but I'm kind of with you. I mean, they haven't been that consistent, and I think obviously there's a lot of plays you can make on that slate. And as you mentioned, I mean, they don't come in, they don't jump right at you.
Right.
So, moving on to shortstop here, Corey Seager, 5,300.
Speaking of the devil.
Yeah, I mean, 7 homers in the last couple of games here, and very much in play. I mean, I still even think price considered. Maybe it causes the ownership to come down, or maybe still the streak, causes it to jump up quite a bit.
I think Mookie Betts was a good example of, regardless of how high they're priced, if someone hits 5 home runs in like a 3 or 2 game span, the ownership's going to be really high. So even in a weird matchup, this is a good matchup. So I'd imagine he's going to be reasonably owned even at his crazy price. So I don't know that I'm going to be on him. I can understand why you would, but I'm probably not touching him.
Yeah, the guy I'm looking up to kind of pay for is Jonathan Villar. And this is kind of where the park factor rankings kind of start to play in for me, is Villar against a lefty at home. I mean, Villar has been absolutely money of late. 6 stolen bases in the last 10 games, 3 homers. He does it all, and he's hitting in front of guys like Luke Roy and Braun there, and he's just, he's providing power and speed, and hitting that upside that you want for GPPs, and that cash games consistency has been there this season. So sign me up, man. I like Villar. I don't care about the price tag.
That's fair. Yeah, I think on tonight, some of these guys, if you like them, you just pay up, and kind of take your lumps with some min guys, because you're just gonna have to hit everything in the tournament. So take your stand. And if you really like Villar, then that's your move. And it sounds like that's your move.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, I mean, so you kind of lock in your pitchers, and maybe you do lock in those 2 price guys, and then you start working. You find your complete tier 1 favorites. But spinning down, I mean, I like Aledmus Diaz at 4,100. He's not the 33 value that he used to be, but hey, in that ballpark against John Lamb, it's very playable, and I like him in all formats as well. Yeah, a more economic, kind of play.
Yeah, we sent him off to school. He finally graduated to people actually caring, so that's unfortunate. 4,100. Still a good play though. Obviously, he's batting 330 on the year, and he's just been crushing pretty consistently. So yeah, you really like that against Lamb and the bullpen there. So he's a great value. I do like Cozart. I think he's a little underrated. He might be a little underowned based on all the options at shortstop. So definitely looking at there against Leak as well.
Yep, definitely. I like that call. And Profar, definitely in play at 3,400. Obviously, it's shortstop. Crawford, interesting GPP option against Porcello for me. Cheaper price tag. Bigger over-under. I think you can kind of take some shots at those late games and kind of hope you hit on a one-off like Crawford, because going cheaper, I mean, there's not a lot of guys that I feel comfortable kind of punting with.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not doing Pettit, for God's sake.
No, I do like Pettit, but yeah, you can't expect too much from a guy batting 9th in the order, so I can respect that. But yeah, I mean, if you're figuring something out at second, you just throw Profar in, and vice versa. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at this position.
Yeah, definitely. And moving on to outfield here, and there's some really good, expensive plays that kind of makes sense. I mean, to kind of pay up for if you want to go and pay down at pitching or something like that. A guy like Mike Trout, certainly in play against Pineda, who's been battered by right-handed pitching this season. Obviously, Braun against the lefty in play as well. So I think there are a couple of guys that could be worth, paying up and maybe, paying down other positions for.
Yeah, I definitely like that idea. Again, sort of like you were with Villar. Well, not necessarily, but it sounded like that. But if you're really making a case for someone, pay up, because that's really the way you win a tournament. If you pay up for one of these guys and they go off. So Trout, Braun, I like Betts a little bit, but not quite as much as them. So I think that's what we're kind of looking at here.
Yep, definitely. And to continue on the kind of Cardinals bats there, I'm a big stacking fan of theirs tonight as far as one-offs as well. Piscotty, Holiday certainly in play for me, and kind of still, I mean, Fowler. I mean, those Cubs lefties are in play against Eichhoff, who's, he hasn't been good against lefties. 358 WOBA allowed in his career, 1.46 runs per 9. Guys like Fowler, Zobrist, Rizzo kind of all stand out to me to kind of get some exposure there.
Definitely. Jose Bautista, 4,200. That's a great price for him. Mazzara, love that price. 4K, love the power upside and the matchup. So definitely liking that.
Yeah, I mean, hard to get away from. I mean, Keuchel has struggled in his two starts against Texas, and I think if anything's a blueprint, if that continues, they're certainly in play. Grichuk, 3,700. Once again, I mean, I'm going to beat the drum here for this Cardinals offense in Great American Ballpark.
Bum, 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 bum.
You got some guys up top. I mean, Domingo Santana, if he's up there, 3,500 against the lefty. He's hit lefties well. Rajai Davis, another guy who moves up when lefties are on the hill. So once again, I mean, you're kind of sitting in a range where you feel pretty good. Obviously, Jose Ramirez out there, 3,400. So it's not necessarily
Drury and Maben in the low 3Ks. So yeah, there's plenty of options down low. So you can reasonably get up there and pay down at the rest.
Yeah, I agree. And if you want to completely punt, Byron Buxton, double-digit DK points over the last 3 games. I mean, hey, that AAA streak that he got going on may have carried over. 7 hits last 3 games. It's impressive. I mean, Conley's been up and down this season, and with the lefty-righty matchup, I think he's worth it at that price. And if he does go over 4, the price tag's not going to kill you.
Right. Yeah, I'm with that for sure.
Really? Because you called him Byron Strikeout Buxton.
I did. He does. He is Byron Strikeout Buxton. But in the same respect, he's been killing it the last few days. So I'm okay with it. I like other cheap options, but he's at outfield. He's pretty clearly. You can't really argue it.
Yeah, and I was just pointing out just because it was funny what you told me. I laughed pretty good before, and I thought, you know what? Maybe people would like to laugh as well with me. So,
But I just waved the white flag and handed it over to you. So I'm glad everyone got to witness that.
That's going to wrap things up here with the DK Daily Trot. Be sure to check out DaveFantasyCafe.com for all great tools.